Hey y'all, are y'all looking for a delicious, healthy, but budget-friendly meal plan for the week? Well, I have 5 dinners that cost me $25. That's right, $5 dinners that fed my family for 5 days, my family of 4, for only $25. Hi friends, welcome to Finance Working Mama. My name is Heather and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I have an exciting meal plan to share with you. I had a subscriber reach out to me and she said, could you possibly put together a healthy menu that could cost my family only $25 for five meals, 5 dinners in 5 days. And I said, you know what, that is a great challenge because I do make budget friendly content, but have I ever tried to do $25? And I don't think I have. I have done $30 and I will link that in the description below. And I've also done $40, but never 25. So this was a challenge and I feel like I came through for at least some good healthy options and dinner plans for your family. I know my family enjoyed it. So let me go over with you guys what I purchased. I did go to Walmart for this. What I purchased for the 5 days of dinners for $25. This is my grocery haul for 5 days, $25. Let's start with the veggies. We have 2 bags. These are about 10 ounces, 12 ounces each bag, 24 ounces of California style mixed veggies. I really got this at a great opportunity, $1.61. It is 1 day away from the best buy date, and all the veggies inside look really good. So I'm going to use it in the next day or two, so I think we'll be fine. 1 garlic clove, 2 sweet potatoes, 2 Roma tomatoes, 1 russet potato, 1 red onion, a bag of the green lettuce, 1 English cucumber. Then we have 1 pound of the brown rice, cottage cheese, the taco seasoning ground, turkey, 12 eggs, a loaf of bread on the discount bakery rack for 93 cents, and a bag of chicken drums for 4 pounds. It was 4 pounds of chicken drums. So this, friends, is the items we'll be using for dinner. The first recipe I'm going to share with you guys, you have probably seen it. If you are a foodie, if you like food content, you've probably seen it on social media somewhere. I've seen several different renditions of this particular recipe, and I don't have necessarily the recipe because I could never really find it. However, I will share with you how I made this particular viral dish and made it budget friendly for this $25 5-day challenge. Let's make this viral dish, friends. I'm going to start off with the pickling juice. You want to do a tablespoon of salt and then a tablespoon and a half of white sugar. Then on the side, I've already boiled some water and I'm going to add a half a cup of boiling water to the salt and sugar. I'm going to mix really well to make sure all of it's well dissolved before adding a half a cup of white vinegar. Mix that well and then set that to the side. Now you want to dice up, or actually slice up, half of your red onion. Now I did only make half of a recipe of the pickling juice. I just Googled a pickling juice and came up with this particular recipe. Only did half of the recipe. So put all the contents in that mason jar, shook it really well. You want to at least let it sit for 30 minutes. I actually let it sit. I did it in the morning and let it sit all day. Dice, you want to peel and dice up your sweet potatoes. I did start my air fryer, preheated that at 400 degrees, added some olive oil, some salt, and some pepper to the sweet potatoes, and I used this particular spice because I thought it would complement the taco seasoned meat well together. Mix that really well together and then put it into the air fryer. Again, it was 400 degrees and I cooked those for 15 minutes. They cooked up really fast. I was really happy how well they cooked up and crisp. I cut up half of that English cucumber. Cucumbers are a fan at my house, so I probably could have cut up the whole thing and
we've eaten the whole thing, but I did want to save half of it for later. Now, my littlest one isn't a fan of the curds or the cottage cheese, so I have learned that if I blend it up a little bit, she doesn't see the curds and she will eat it. Now, I did have to run over to Food Lion across the street to pick up that cottage cheese because Walmart's cooler was out. So they had no cottage cheese, no yogurt, but that's okay. I had to pay a few cents more for it, but that's all right. It did the job. Now I'm going to brown up this already seasoned taco turkey, ground turkey meat. It is in the freezer section at Walmart and it's under $2. A great find, great affordable find and easy. So all you have to do is brown up and it's already nicely seasoned up. Once that is seasoned and cooked, you set that to the side and you make your hot honey. You can buy this in the store, but I had all the ingredients and it's a lot cheaper. I did 4 tablespoons of honey right there, and I did 4 dashes of the red pepper flakes. Friends, you can use as much or as little as you want. And I did about 4 dashes of the red pepper to this hot honey. Mixed it really well and set that to the side. Look, those sweet potatoes browned up really, really well, and they're perfectly done. Let's put together the bowl. Put some ground turkey taco meat. You can use ground beef if you like. I chose ground turkey because it was cost effective and pretty easy because it was already seasoned. And put some sweet potatoes on the side, and then a dollop or heavy dollop of the the cottage cheese, pickled onions, and as much cucumber as you'd like. Drizzle that hot honey on top of it and it is ready to go. This was so delicious, guys. You should try it.
Y'all have to try it. I'm telling you, it was really delicious. My family gobbled it all up. We didn't have anything left over. I think someone overate that dish. But what I enjoyed about it, it was a healthy meal. It was delicious and extremely easy to put together. And if you're not a sweet potato fan, and there's some people that aren't sweet potato fans, just sub it out for carrots, because carrots is a good sub. It still gives that sweetness that I think complements the dish and makes the dish delicious. The second evening, we had a fried brown rice egg with a garlic soy vinegar sauce. And I've made this before. I actually made it and I'll link that video in the description below, for $10 dinners, which ended up being $60 for 6 nights. And go figure, I'm making it for a $5 a day dinner plan for 5 nights. But it is delicious. Let me share with you how I made it. And you know, we used an ingredient that I would say 3 months ago was way too expensive, and that was eggs. But that was the star of this particular dinner that evening.
Let's start by making the vinaigrette first for this dish. As you can see, you will need 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of rice vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. Mix that well. As you can see, I didn't have any soy sauce. Fortunately, I had some packets stowed aside to get me the 2 tablespoons of soy sauce that I needed. And if you don't have rice vinegar or sesame oil, no worries. Regular vinegar, regular oil will work. I will tell you, sesame seed oil has a strong flavor, so if you're not into that, do not use the sesame oil. I did have half of a red onion left over, so I used 3/4 of that red onion that was left over to this dish, and then I added 3 garlic cloves finely pressed in the onions. Let those cook to translucent about 5 minutes, and then I added 2.5 cups of cooked brown rice to the dish. Mixed the onions and the garlic really well with the brown rice, and then I added just a little bit of hot water to the pan, and I did this to make sure that the next ingredients I add gets well incorporated. As you can see, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of chili powder. That's right, chili powder. Wouldn't have thought this for sort of a fried rice. And then I'm adding a teaspoon of ginger to this dish. You can add a lot more ginger if you like that flavor, but I'm just adding a teaspoon of the ground dried ginger to this dish. Make sure I mix the ginger and the chili powder well incorporate those ingredients into the rice mixture. You need to add just a little bit more water to make sure it's well incorporated. Do so. It evaporates and cooks up really well. Set that rice to the side, and it's time to cook up your eggs. You could cook up your eggs any way you like it. One kid likes it scrambled. You top it the rice with the scrambled egg. My husband and I like our eggs runny. I'm cooking him up 2 eggs, sunny side up, really, to place on this dish. So you want to add some of that rice to the bottom of a plate and spread it out. And what I should have done was put a little bit of that vinaigrette on the rice before topping it with the egg, but I didn't. I forgot. Either way, it turned out perfect. So put your eggs on top of the rice, add a little bit more of that vinaigrette to the top of those eggs, and friends, it's time to enjoy. This is a really delicious dish, especially with a runny egg, but you can cook your eggs however you would like them, scrambled or hard, whatever you like with your rice.
Friends, the third night we had a sheet pan dinner. Who doesn't love a sheet pan dinner? So easy, typically for preparation, and a very easy cleanup. And after a busy day, a long busy day, a sheet pan dinner of all of those things of easy preparation, easy cleanup is at the top of my list, at least. All I did was take the 2 frozen packages that you saw in the grocery haul. It's a California blend mix. It was 12 ounces of each package. I actually do myself a little bit of a favor to help the cooking process and really help with the flavor of how I like my vegetables to taste after coming out of the oven. I defrost my vegetables completely, put them in a strainer, and allow all the moisture to leave the vegetables. When I get home that evening, it makes for a very quick preparation. I just took the potato, chopped that potato up, added some of that fresh pressed garlic to it, and then I added the frozen thawed vegetables to the pan, put some olive oil all over it, and chose a spice that was in my cabinet. I chose this chicken dust that I got a year ago on vacation. Very tangy. I think it has paprika, salt and pepper, and onion and garlic in it, maybe a few other things. Seasoned them really well, mixed them, and then I added the chicken drums, the 4 pounds of frozen chicken. Those can be a bit of a mixed bag of things sometimes. If you've purchased this frozen bag of drumsticks before at Walmart, you could either get a 4 pounds of a lot of smaller chicken drums, what I call skinnier chicken drums, or you'll get a bag full of chicken drums that are pretty thick and healthy. And these chickens were pretty healthy, at least in meat content. So that gave me 7 chicken drums. So I took 5, put them on the sheet pan, put lots of seasoning on them. I used that chicken dust again. I put it in the oven for about 375 degrees, and I cooked mine for 30 minutes, and it was perfectly done, extremely delicious. And I paired it with some garlic toast with that discount bakery bread that I found at Walmart that evening. For the 4th evening, I made one of our favorite dishes and one of my go-tos when I want to get things done and out of the refrigerator, and something quick. Fried rice is a favorite of the family and so convenient. And if you remember, I bought 4 pounds of frozen chicken drums. It came with 7 chicken drums. I used 5 for the sheet pan dinner. I held out 2. I slow cook them in my crock pot so that way they would just fall off the bone. With those 2 very meaty drumsticks, I was able to get a pretty heavy heaping cup of pulled chicken for this fried rice recipe.
Let's get started on one of our favorite dishes, and that's chicken fried rice. As you can see, I added 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the dish. I pressed in 3 garlic cloves. I made that saute a little bit, make sure I could smell the garlic before adding the super blend, which is Brussels sprouts, Napa cabbage, carrots, and broccoli slaw. Oh my gosh, I was so excited to see this blend on discount or discounted. I made sure I saute that for just a couple minutes. I do like a little bit of crunch in my veggies with my stir fries. As you can see, I'm adding some ginger. I'm just doing ginger to my heart content, probably a teaspoon, I would say. You could add as little or as more as you'd like. Made sure that was well incorporated before adding the stir fry sauce that I found in the back of my spice cabinet. I think it's like soy sauce, sesame seed oil, and rice wine vinegar. One of my friends gave that to me and I found it. So I was like, well, I'll try it. Typically, I just do ginger, soy sauce, and garlic, and that's usually what I use for my stir fry. As you can see, I'm adding that pulled chicken that I cooked earlier in the week in my slow cooker. I'm adding that to the veggies, making sure it was heated through and well incorporated with the veggies before scrambling one egg. I did have one egg left over. I could have done two, but I just chose to do one this evening. Made sure the egg was nice and scrambled and well incorporated into the veggies before adding the rest of the brown rice. I had about a cup and a half left of uncooked brown rice, which I cooked up and added it to the stir fry. Added a little bit of more ginger and more of that stir fried sauce just to make sure it had plenty of seasoning added to it. Stirred it, make sure it's nice and cooked through and warmed. Add it to the bowl, and wow, friends, this was so delicious.
All right, day 5. It landed on a Friday, and yes, I wanted it to be easy, and it was really hot, so this meal plan was perfect. Earlier in the week, I boiled up 6 eggs. I got them already shelled, put them in the refrigerator, and had them ready on day 5.
Let's get going on making this egg salad sandwich. Who doesn't love a good egg salad sandwich? I chopped up the 6 eggs. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of the yellow mustard and 2 heaping tablespoons of the light Duke's mayo with some salt and pepper. And I have a little bit of leftover red onion, and I'm adding that to the mix. If you don't like onions, you don't have to put it in there. We love them. And I did a nice stir, made sure all of it was well incorporated, did a taste test, realized it needed about a tablespoon more of that light Duke's mayo. And yes, I said Duke's. Duke's is the best. If you're a Southerner, you know what I mean. Oh goodness, it's so good. Mixed it well, and then I toasted up some of that bread that I found on the Walmart discount bakery rack. Toasted them up, made 2 sandwiches, and added them to a salad. The green leaf lettuce that I purchased, the rest of that cucumber, the tomato, and I had some leftover cottage cheese, which I topped the salad. Friends, this was such a great Friday meal, perfect for the summer. You must try it.
Okay, friends, that wraps up my 5 dinners for the week. $25 for 5 dinners, and it fed my family of 4, and we enjoyed every single one of them. All of them were a win. Now, how much did that really cost me? When I put all the ingredients into the app, it actually came out to be $26 and some change. But I didn't do the grocery pickup. I actually went into the grocery store, and the things that are already weighed with an average weight to them that is loaded on the app actually weighed in less. Like the 2 Roma tomatoes that I picked out were less than what was in the app. The sweet potatoes weighed in less. The yellow onion, or the red onion, as well as potato weighed in less. And so all of that got me under $25, and it came out with North Carolina tax, which ended up being 95 cents. The total with tax is $24.78. Now, you could even go cheaper if you decided that you just didn't want those already prepared packaged vegetables that I found on discount. One of my friends told me to always check that aisle, because at some point in time, one or many of them will be discounted because they need to get them sold. So I did check that area first and found that package of vegetables, and I wanted more green veggies in my fried rice, so that really hit the spot. But if you're not a fan of that, or if you want to save a little bit more money, you can go to the frozen food department, and for under $1, you can get frozen peas and carrots. Also, I wanted to buy the frozen sweet potatoes because they were already diced up, and they were about £1, and they were cheaper than fresh. But they didn't have that when I went there, so I had to go back over to the produce department and buy the fresh sweet potatoes, and I had to peel them. But either way, it came out perfect. All under $25. And friends, I will have to say, it was a healthy meal plan for the family, and everyone enjoyed it. So you don't have to eat hot dogs and boxed macaroni and cheese. to make it budget friendly. You can also eat healthy as well. Friends, I hope this inspires you to look outside your box of what is budget friendly, and that you can have healthy, delicious dinners for your family for under $25 for 5 days. Now, in my next video, you will see how I use convenience items in my next week's video that will hit, because I was a little lazy and a little tired after a vacation. So I wanted it to make a easiness for myself. And thus I didn't really want to cook. So if you are interested in that, please subscribe. If you haven't already, would love to see you next week in my video. And I will link the videos below with the $30 menu and the $60 menu and the $40 menu if you're looking for a little bit more inspiration. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today. And as always, please stay safe. And most importantly, stay encouraged.